What is it, Colonel?
Snake, I've been speaking with Otacon, and we need to change the mission parameters.
Run into something unexpected?
We need you to go to patreon.com/displaying model behavior and subscribe.
Patreon? Is that like Metal Gear?
No, but it does contain exclusive videos that only Patreon subscribers can see.
A real for your eyes only mission, huh? I'm logging in and subscribing now.
Snake, wait. Before you start watching the videos, you need to finish the original mission. Snake? Snake? Snake!
The Model Behavior Patreon. Kept you waiting, huh?
There's a new Street Fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is...
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's most colourful action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Guys, why am I wearing this ridiculous multicoloured double headband thingamajig? I feel like Otto from The Simpsons, you know those headbands that are like double headbands? Yeah. First guy to rock it. It's going to be huge next year. Trust me, all the kids will be wearing this. But the reason why I'm doing this is because... Compound Hulk Smash! What on earth am I doing with this ridiculous action figure? I tell you what I'm doing. I'm having a damn good time with him. This is way more fun than I was expecting it to be. So in case you're wondering, this is a Loot Crate episode. I'm going to show you all the cool stuff that I've bought this week, and the main piece, the pièce de la résistance, even though I'm opening with him, which doesn't make sense, but still, Compound Hulk. I bought this guy because all my pre-orders were so delayed, and I was like, I want to have something to open. So I got this guy, and I'm so pleased that I did. Probably the biggest overriding factor was also just the thing that I have all the Hulks on this body. So I've got the San Diego, I got green, I got grey, I got red, I got Maestro, and it's like, come on, Dave, you want the full set. But now that I've got him, I'm so pleased that I have, because he's just really fun. You know what I like. Big, bulky, colourful. That ticks all the boxes. Plus, I went back and read the story where he appears, and it's actually kind of a fun story, and more to the point, it brings in Xemnu, so our latest Build-A-Figure. There's another reason to keep him and have him in the display and pose him with the Hulk. This is the story featuring Xemnu. So what happens is, long story short, we have Green Hulk and Red Hulk, and Xemnu comes to Earth to just, wreck stuff and pick a fight with the Hulk, and he brings a whole horde of monsters with him, all these different monsters. Wood God was the first one that comes out, and that's the first time I've seen that character, and I'm like, Wood God. But still, he brings all these creatures out, he's fighting the Hulk, and it's the Red Hulk, because Bruce Banner is back in Gamma Base as sort of coordinating things. And eventually, it's just too much for General Ross's Red Hulk to take. He's taking a bit of a beating, and then Green Hulk turns up, and the bloody Impossible Man. So Marvel's version of DC's Mr. Mxyzptlk, or I think that's how you pronounce his name, actually. I was going to correct myself, but no, I got that right. Mr. Mxyzptlk. The Impossible Man is like, I've kind of set this whole thing up because we're doing a international intergalactic betting scheme, so have at it. And then while the Red Hulk's losing, he's like, you know what, this isn't really fair. I think it takes both of you to win. So he blips them together, and we have Compound Hulk. So the reason why it's like a perfect line down the middle, the reason why even the clothes emerged, it's because it's an Impossible Man thing. It's a stupid genie wish, snap of the fingers, bloop, now you're together. So they have both psyches in this mind. And what's kind of cool is they eventually win the fight by realizing that the only way that they can work together is to find some kind of common ground that they can link their minds with. And of course, that common ground is their love for Betty Ross. And that's really sweet. So both guys, even though they hate each other, they just channel the thought of Betty, which syncs their minds together. And eventually they win the day. And when they do, the Impossible Man, bloop, unmerges them. So that was a one and done issue with Compound Hulk, but it was actually a lot of fun and very silly, and we get this awesome action figure to show for it. And it is really good fun. So the only original piece of sculpting, I think, is the head sculpt. itself. It's this combination, obviously, of the two put together. And I don't think they'd like sliced the heads down the middle. They actually made a whole new one here for this. And it works. It's great. Everything else on here is just what you would expect. I won't sort of go on about it too much because you've seen the classic Monster Hulk figures, the 80th anniversary, the San Diego Comic-Con figure. One thing a lot of folks do point out, which is a little bit of a shame, but it is what it is that, of course, when you bend the torso, when you bend the hips, you get a lot of purple paint on display there, which is just, it's the mechanics of the figure. You know that was going to happen. And also you can see that the pants are purple, then with the black painted over. So you can sometimes see a little bit of the purple creeping out from the black. But that's a niggle. And it's not even a niggle. I'm not even annoyed about it because I kind of accept, like, well, that's what you get. That's how the figures are made. But the rest of the paint, I really can't fault it at all. The lines are perfectly straight and clear, very precise, even going right down the head where it's most important. You've got the lovely shading around the eyes as well. There's some great expression here. Of course, little touches would have been nicer, like if they'd done the nails a different color to bring out some more of the details, because the sculpting is lovely. You've got all the little wrinkles and lines on the knuckles and the veins. Again, the veins look really good as well, but that's something that this Hulk is missing, I think, is a bit more. I think he has a very, very slight little airbrushing kind of texture where maybe it's just the light, but it looks like the peak of his pectorals are a little bit lighter in color, but that might just be where the light catches it. Then again, looking at his green bicep, I think maybe there's some lighter green paint on there, so it feels like there may be a little bit of a wash, but not a huge amount. But that's me just looking very, very closely. Because really, once this figure's on your shelf, like all figures, you'll be glancing at it and just seeing how it pops off the shelf. And this, most definitely, pops off the shelf. So, is this an essential purchase? Absolutely not. Not even slightly. Is it a fun purchase? Definitely. Now, a lot of folks are saying, look, no one's going to want this. This is going to be reduced to like $10 in a couple of months. And you know what? Maybe it is. So if you're on the fence, then sit back and wait and see what happens. Because is it worth like full price? Yes. I think it is worth full price because you get a good, heavy, hefty figure. You get your money's worth of the plastic. Plus, the box is very, very pretty as well. I didn't show the box, but you've got the lovely comic book artwork on the back here as well, down the sides. You got I love the fading, different coloured Hulk fist icon. I think that's really, really cool on there. So the actual box presentation is really lovely. So seeing him in there just like, rah! That's really, really cool. But really, can I say really one more time? Really, it's not an essential. But if you're a Hulk fan, if you like big, colourful characters, absolutely get it. He comes with two fisted hands as well, but I love the kind of pose. So this dude, really happy with him. Digging around inside the loot crate, we find some older figures now. I saw a little bundle being sold on one of the Facebook groups, and I thought, you know what? There's a little grail in there, and that is the classic Spider-Woman, red and yellow Spider-Woman. Now, this is very much an old second-hand figure. So I know for a fact there's a couple of things missing, mainly the little web bits that go under her arms. But you know what? I ended up getting it for $10. So that ain't too bad. So just to fill that gap, that New Avengers Bendis style time frame where she really did feature a lot very prominently, Secret Invasion, that kind of era, I'm really happy to finally be able to add her. Because I never got the Spider-Woman from the Lizard Wave, because I figured that's a very short-term costume, that's not really iconic. This one is iconic. So it's iconic to like certain comic people. I don't think I'd show anyone this costume in the street and they'd be like, oh my goodness, it's the iconic Spider-Woman. No, but you know what I mean. She's kind of a big money player. So I'm really pleased to be able to add her to my kind of New Avengers type design sort of shelf. The only figure missing from that wave is Ronin. Marvel Legends, come on Hasbro, give us a Ronin figure so we can complete that Brian Michael Bendis New Avengers look. But this is really fun. Even without the web armpits, that's fine. Hopefully we'll get a new shiny bells and whistles version of her. But in the meantime, this one's good. Now also, going for the second-hand figures, I got Marvel Now Captain America, because I was seeing little minor pockets and teams and time frames were starting to just naturally get filled on my shelf as I got a little figure from here, a little figure from there. And so this Marvel Now Captain, he goes really well with the Marvel Now Iron Man that I got, unsurprisingly enough. And now there's a few other figures where I'm like, I want to kind of expand that roster. But still, this goes great similarly on that kind of Bendis era, Secret Invasion type of mid-2000s shelf, basically. This is a good mid-2000s Cap. And for an older figure, he actually holds up really nicely. There's a little bit of paint chipping here and there. But the actual design, I love the kind of fish scale, but the modern, more armored looking, Kevlar looking fish scale with the bits of grey in there as well. It's a very interesting modernized version of the Captain America costume with the more militaristic boots as opposed to the, what are they called? Like the Buccaneer type boots. So I prefer those kinds of boots with the knee pads. It's a more realistic MCU-ish type Captain America costume, and I really dig that. The shield looks a little bit naff. It's one of the cheaper sort of versions of the shield, but that's fine. As a shelf filler to bridge out and broaden out that mid-2000s wave, yeah, I really like this guy. And finally, for the older figures, this is a great running joke that we've had with the channel, which I really, really love. I was literally given a donation to the channel to just get one figure. Ray said, if I give you the money, you gotta buy this figure, all right? And I'm a man of my word. So here is the stick-waving diddler himself, Black Tom Cassidy. I said that was a figure that I held in my hands in the store for $5, and I was like, I just don't want this guy. He looks stupid. He will actually bring down my shelf. But finally, I relented. Enough people were like, no, he's a decent figure. Don't be so harsh. I relented. I got him. You know what? He's nicer than I thought he was going to be. He's better in hand than I figured. I mean, figures don't always look great in their packaging because they're just in a static kind of pose. No one really looks very flattered like that. But this version with a slightly twisted, arcing kind of movement, that looks a lot cooler. I don't love him, but putting him next to Juggernaut, they'll look like a really good team. I also like the fact that, maybe just coincidentally, but the skull head on top of his shillelagh, that looks straight out of Evil Dead 2. Tell me that's not modeled on the monster from Evil Dead 2. I think that's totally a little nod there. But yeah, his face could use a bit more of a wash kind of detail. It looks like a very plastic face. But still, the silly little goatee, the big eyebrows, I can get on board with this guy. You know what? I'm not saying I love him, but I don't hate him either. And finally this week we had the big bad bear wave, the Ursa Major wave. My one here sporting the minigun from my Hot Toys T800 because, I mean, look at it. It's a giant bear with a minigun. That's just brilliant. So this is, of course, Ursa Major. I did a full review, or I will do a full review of the entire wave, so I'll just do a really quick synopsis. The Bath looks really fun, but it is just a giant bear, so I'm not that excited, but I do like his paws and the details. The fact that you can't really articulate the head very much, that's a bit of a shame, but whack a gigantic Gatling gun in his hands and suddenly he looks a whole lot cooler. But this is a really mixed wave, to be honest. Am I generally a bit disappointed? Yeah, I think I am. The biggest disappointment to me is Modular Iron Man, because this is the one I was most looking forward to. And look, he's still decent, and I think it's just more bad luck on my part. I've been generally quite lucky with Hasbro QC over the years, but this one, the legs and the hips feel really, really loose. They feel really loosey-goosey, and it just makes it feel very, very cheap. There's not much give, or there's not much resistance. They wobble. And it's like, this is a brand new figure out of the packaging, guys. Shouldn't have wobbly legs and hips. And then on the complete opposite side of that, his right shoulder is incredibly stiff to the point that I can't, there you go, I can't take it through its full range of motion. If I do, I feel like the shoulder pad is going to warp and bend out of place. And the left one is fine, but the right one, it just doesn't want to go. So that's really frustrating, very disappointing. This is a figure I was really looking forward to, and kind of let me down. But there are some other good things here. I'm just picking them up randomly, so this is no order. But speaking of, like, good things, this Dark Star as well, she's okay, but she's just okay. I like the bright sort of luminous yellow, but her face looks so bored. What's she doing? She's just staring vacantly. She's definitely not watching Model Behaviour, that's for sure. Otherwise, she'd be like riveted like this. But no, she looks so bored. Like, so her hands, like, so is she casting some magic or something? Because if she is, she doesn't look very excited about it. This is not someone in the middle of a pitched battle here. I'm not sure what she's doing, which is a shame because her yellow eyes, they look really cool. But the hair, of course, that completely limits articulation. So you have to have her looking straight on, which makes her look even more derpy. So that's a shame. Now, going on, we have, another one to give out about. The Guardsman. Again, I was looking forward to the Guardsman. Yes, a generic kind of figure, but so 90s. All the villains were locked up in the vault in the 90s. But already you can see he's sporting a different gun because his little hand pistol doesn't actually fit in his gripping hand very well. It points out to the side. It doesn't point straight when he's holding it. Very lazy, very poor design there. Plus, the plastic feels very gummy. You can see a huge gap in the thigh swivel here, which feels incredibly loose. I'm just waiting for this to just pop off. And then also under his arms in the ratchet hinges, there was actually like leftover plastic from the mold where it hadn't cut off properly. So I had to actually like X-Acto knife and get that off. It's like, come on, guys. It feels cheap. And with prices going up, that's a real shame. At least giving him a decent looking gun, that improves it a little bit, but I am disappointed by that. Let's go for a good one now. All right. Ultron. Ultron's cool. I don't have too many problems with this. I would have liked a slightly bigger Ultron, but actually I appreciate that in his classic form, he is only just, taller than your average dude. He's not a huge, big, monstrous menace. I would love an Age of Ultron type, giant, multi-armed, terrifying-looking Robot Deluxe version. But this for classic retro design with the Kirby crackle, yeah, that's really cool. So actually, I dig this guy. I like Ultron. He's a strong contender for the best figure in the wave. Also, a real surprise sleeper hit is Stealth Iron Man. I was not expecting to have any time for this guy at all. I was just like, it's just a repainted 80th Iron Man. I don't need him. Then I got him. He's so pretty. This paint job, this black and blue kind of chromey sort of look, in hand, it's great. Doesn't photograph well, you see, and that's the big thing. It doesn't photograph well, but my goodness, in hand, he looks really, really great, so don't sleep on him. Then, of course, we have Holo Iron Man, and I don't know what to do with this. This is I don't want to say trash, but it feels kind of trash. It's based on, I think, maybe the MCU Civil War Iron Man armor design, but like the ankles are incredibly stiff, so very difficult to put in any kind of pose. But also I don't really know what kind of pose you would put him in, because a hologram Iron Man is just like, he just appears as a hologram normally when he's talking to someone, or it's like the Tony Stark AI or whatever. So like I don't really know what he's going to do besides just stand there. I mean, it's kind of pretty. It is pretty when the sun shines through. You get the translucent effect. That's kind of cool, but I just don't really know he's surplus to requirements. He's definitely surplus to requirements. So, yeah. And the final figure fell off the shelf, so bear with me. All right, finally we have Riri Williams, arguably the figure of the wave. This one is excellent. Now, because it's a female figure, that by nature of it being this character, it's smaller, so it feels a little bit spindly-bindly, which is always a shame. I like to feel like I got my money's worth. But you do get your money's worth in the nice sculpting, the accessories. This is more of a complete package of a figure. So I'm not an expert when it comes to reuse or whatnot, but I think this is all new. This is all new Riri Williams female Iron Man sculpting. Someone might say, oh no, this was used for rescue or something. I don't know, but to my eyes, it feels new. But then with her nice blast effects with the smoke, that's really pretty. I dig that. In fact, I'm thinking maybe I might take that smoke and put it on Mysterio. That could be a fun way to mix that up. But really, the Riri head, That's excellent. That's really well done. Riri, well done. So she's got like the cool kind of hair coming down the front there, and her expression, it's sort of the antithesis of the Dark Star expression, where she looks very sort of stern. So it would be so easy for this to be a very plain Deadeye expression, but for whatever reason, they just get a right kind of nuance. I don't know what it is. It's that intangible X factor that makes the face look decent. Thank goodness. So with that, with the helmet head as well, that's more of a complete package. I really like Riri. So on the whole, that wave was a mixed bag. There was some good, some bad. I think I had higher expectations because I was waiting so long to get my hands on them. On the whole, though, it felt a bit, it wasn't bad, but wasn't great either. Definitely doesn't touch the villains wave as far as, wave of the year contendership is concerned. Bring on the Age of Apocalypse wave. Let's see how that one stacks up. But guys, for just over a week's worth of collecting, I would say that was a pretty darn good loot crate. And there's one more thing actually as well. Hold that thought. Finally, we have this big, chunky, huge big Commando Spawn. What on earth am I doing with this? I'll tell you. It's a birthday present from my brother-in-law. That was so sweet. It's a little bit early. My birthday's not until the end of September. But he was like, I saw this and I thought, you know what? I'll get this for Dave's birthday. And because he's like me, he's a big kid. He didn't want to wait to give it to me. So I now have this Commando Spawn. And this is interesting because it's obviously based off of his Mortal Kombat 11 design. It says it on the box. That's not exactly world's greatest detective there. But I do kind of dig that they've got all of the Commando Spawn sculpting and everything going on here. He's got his big old gun as well. Doesn't fit with my 1/12th scale. But that's cool because as a kind of mantelpiece, centerpiece, that's really great fun. I love the big swirly-whirly light effect here, which again, you could use this with so many other characters. Oh, I think I might pose Dormammu with this. That would be great for Dormammu. So yeah, there's no real articulation, which is surprising, because I would have thought that he would just be based on the action figure, just blown up. But actually, there's no shoulder or leg articulation. It is a statue. So that's kind of limiting there. It's not an action figure per se. Although, of course, it's pure McFarlane. It's like, no, you can twist the head, so that makes it an action figure. No, it doesn't, Todd. No, it doesn't. That's a posable statue. But as far as posable statues go, this guy's really good fun. So lovely detailing on the bandolier, the belt, the grenades, all that kind of stuff. It's pure badass Spawn. So I dig that. The only thing I've got to say is if you have this, oh my goodness, be so careful, because these spikes, these are vicious. These are like select anti-venom. These are sharp. And as the dude says in Iron Man 2, it's amazing how irritating a little prick can be. Because it is. I've genuinely hurt myself with this figure. Picked him up and been like, jeez. But still, really fun. So he's going to go on my shelf of badasses, which is rapidly filling up. So guys, thank you very much for watching. This was such a fun week of collecting so many random things. I had a blast. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, then feel free to join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. If you want to go one step further, you can go over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior, just like these saviors of model behavior did, and you can watch all the sorts of private, that sounds like ooh la la. But yeah, you can watch extra bonus content and exclusive videos to the Patreon. And also, I do have to say, guys, that when I last did a Patreon plug, I did say that the President of the Moon would send you a personal handwritten thank you letter. Unfortunately, there have been some issues on the moon, a little bit of civil unrest, so he's trying to deal with that at the moment. So it might be a bit tricky to get those letters out to you. But I've been assured that as soon as the insurgency has been quashed, he'll be able to send you a thank you letter. President of the Moon, that's a big deal. So guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Chill.
Cup of coffee. Big time